I'm back for another foundation roundup. So many of you have requested this video and want to know my thoughts and feelings on these brand new 4 foundations, which will be best and which will be worst for a more mature skin. I am 46, I have dry patches, I have oily patches, I have some fine lines and wrinkles, I have a lot of skin texture. Which one will be best for me? Which one do I think will be best for you? We have a couple of new formulations from Dior, the Dior Forever Matte, the Dior Forever Skin Glow. The Dior Forever Skin Glow was one of my ride or die foundations back in the day. Will I prefer this one? Will I prefer the original? Time will tell. We also have a brand new foundation from Clarins. This is the Double Serum Foundation. And a brand new formulation from Nars. This is the Natural Matte Long Wear Foundation. So without further ado, let's get straight on with it. First up, let's delve into the Clarins Double Serum Foundation. Again, lots of buzz around this particular product with it being a hybrid skincare makeup formula. This is going to set you back £49 in the UK and you get the standard 30 mils. This comes in a glass bottle. It's got a double pump, a dual chamber, very nice packaging. Comes in 37 shades. I've gone for the shade L3N, which is a pretty good match for me. Maybe a little bit deep, but I can definitely get away with it. This is going to give you a medium to full coverage. This is a buildable formula, and it's going to give you a luminous satin radiant finish, which is extremely flattering on the skin with a non-oily feel. A third of this formula is the iconic double serum, and 2/3 of the formula is the foundation pigment. They are kept completely separately, and they only come together when the pump is pressed. The double serum has 14 active ingredients to smooth and plump. This is alcohol free, but it does contain a fragrance. And with everyday use, this is supposed to really aid the skin in smoothing out any fine lines and wrinkles and really plumping up the skin. You can see before and afters on the website. I obviously haven't been using it for long enough to actually get those benefits myself. It applies beautifully. It's not airbrushing. It may emphasize pores a little bit, but it feels like skincare on the skin. It feels incredibly comfortable. It's shiny, but I didn't powder it in place, so you can choose whether you want to dim down the shine a little bit with a bit of powder if you want to. I wanted to give this the full wear test that it deserved, so I didn't powder this in place. It did move into my smile lines a little bit as the day progressed. That did not happen when I powdered those problematic areas. Quite frankly, I was expecting this to slip off my face within hours, and it didn't do that. In fact, after 12 hours, the entire foundation was still on my face. It didn't look very fresh anymore. It looked very, very shiny, a little bit oily in patches, but all the foundation was still attached to the skin, and I was really, really impressed. I was not expecting that at all. The one major flaw that I think this has, there is a customizable dial on the top of this product, but it is only customizable for both parts of the formula. So it customizes both the foundation and the double serum. Now, this is where I was a little bit disappointed because my skin is very temperamental, and someday it's really well hydrated and nourished, and if I put something that is really hydrating and nourishing on it, it just slides off my face and goes really oily throughout the day. But sometimes my skin needs a little bit more hydration and nourishment. So this customization little dial on the top, I wish there was a way of just customizing the amount of double serum that was dispensed with every single pump. Or I wish that there were 2 pumps on here that dispensed not both of the products together, but completely separately, so that you could customize it on the back of your hand and take some of the double serum away or add a little bit more. If that was the case, I think this would be near perfect, a near perfect formula. I just think it is lovely. I just would like to customize it a little bit more. Next up, we've got the Dior Forever Matte. Now, that word matte is a bit confusing for me with this particular foundation. I have this on today because when I did the full day wear test, I forgot to actually film it. So I've filmed application today. Does this look matte to you? I think this looks quite radiant. I would not say this is a matte foundation at all. Anyway, this is the Dior Forever Matte. It costs £52 in the UK. You get the standard 30ml and it comes in 45 shades. I've gone for the shade 1N, which is slightly too deep for me, I'm not gonna lie. So if you are my shade twin, I would possibly go for something just slightly bit lighter. This comes in a frosted glass bottle with a pump, very easy to dispense the product. It's going to give you medium to full coverage and it gives you a blurring natural finish. Now on the website it says natural matte finish. I wouldn't say this is matte. So I would say it's definitely blurring, it's definitely a natural finish, but I wouldn't put matte in there. A lot of people are going to be frightened off by the word matte, and I don't think they need to be with this foundation. It does have airbrushing qualities. It contains the skincare, hyaluronic acid, niacinamide and peptides, and this also has an SPF of 20. It does, however, contain alcohol and fragrance. So if you are sensitive to alcohol, if you're sensitive to fragrance, this one may not be for you. It's supposed to be extremely long wearing. However, I found that the added skincare in this formula and the added luminosity that this formula brings hinders its long wearing capabilities. And although this didn't cling to my dryness, it didn't settle in pores, it didn't try and migrate into my smile lines, which I was really impressed with, it didn't last as long as I was hoping for. As you can see, after 12 hours, there are patches of the foundation that have disappeared off my chin and my nose. The airbrushing qualities of this foundation, I would say, lasted around about 2 to 3 hours. So again, not a long time. So yeah, a bit disappointing. Definitely not a matte foundation. The long wear capabilities were a bit meh for me. So I still like it. I think it looks very nice on the skin. But if you're looking for a really long wearing formula and you're looking for something really matte, this is definitely not going to be the one that you need to be spending your money on. As we're talking about Dior, let's talk about the little sister of the foundations, the Dior Forever Skin Glow. Now, like I said at the beginning of this video, this used to be my favorite foundation back in the day. It has been reformulated, just like the Dior Forever Matte. You're going to see a lot of brands reformulating their products because there is a specific silicone that a lot of foundations use that is going to be banned as of 2027. So a lot of brands are quickly trying to reformulate all of their products that contain that specific silicone. So that happened with the Dior Forever Skin Glow and the Dior Forever Matte. So this is the Dior Forever Skin Glow. Again, £52 in the UK. You get the standard 30ml and it comes in 45 shades. Again, I've gone for the shade 1N. The difference here though, I find that the Dior Forever Matte is slightly lighter in 1N and easier for me to get away with than the shade 1N and the Dior Forever Skin Glow. This is a little too deep for me, and to be quite honest, I struggled to make this work. I had to blend it all the way down my neck. Once again, this comes in a glass bottle with a pump. The way that you can clearly tell each individual foundation apart though is that this one, the Dior Forever Skin Glow, comes in a clear glass bottle. The Dior Forever Matte comes in a frosted glass bottle. This is supposed to give you medium to full coverage and give you a natural glowy finish. It's formulated with perfecting powders to blur imperfections. It's got hyaluronic acid, niacinamide and those peptides in there, but also it does contain alcohol and a fragrance. It also contains SPF 25. Now, I found it quite a challenge to actually apply this formula because the formula is such a loose formula. It's very difficult to get it on the skin and not get too much on the skin. So whereas in this video I did apply this with a brush, I definitely recommend that you apply this with a sponge to get the best look out of it, because if you do apply too much, it looks makeup-y, it definitely looks like foundation, it doesn't look like skin, and it can look very heavy and cakey throughout the day. This is supposed to be a long-wearing formula, but this felt like foundation on my skin. It didn't feel like heavier skincare, it felt like foundation. It also felt still quite tacky throughout the day, and it transferred on absolutely everything, and it made my skin itch, which was really disappointing. I wasn't expecting it. No other Dior foundations have made my skin itch in the past, but this one definitely did, and I wore it on several occasions and it itched throughout. This didn't cling to my dryness, it didn't collect in my smile lines, which I was really pleased about, but after 3 or 4 hours, this did start to accentuate my texture, especially in between my brows where it looked very heavy and cakey, and this didn't last as long as the Dior Forever Matte on me, even though the Dior Forever Matte had some missing elements on my face after 12 hours, this was worse in my opinion. And finally, the new Nars Natural Matte Longwear Foundation. This costs £43.50 in the UK. You get the standard 30ml. It comes in 46 shades. I've gone for my original shade, which is Mont Blanc, and really it's a very good shade match for me. This comes in a frosted glass bottle with a pump. It's going to give you medium to full coverage with a matte finish. Now this is a natural matte finish, not a flat matte finish. It does contain squalane and glycerin for hydration, and it is alcohol and fragrance free. On first application, this is wow. This is a very liquidy, loose formula, and it applies to the skin beautifully. This is blurring and smoothing, a little bit like a skin filter. I loved it. In fact, as soon as I applied this foundation, I FaceTimed one of my friends and said, you've got to see this foundation. This foundation looks absolutely beautiful. It applies effortlessly. And because the formula is so thin, this feels completely weightless on my skin. However, if you have any dryness on your face whatsoever, this formula is going to seek it out, and after 2 to 4 hours, that dryness is going to be accentuated and that dryness is going to feel drier. So as the day goes through, the dryness gets worse and worse and worse, which is such a shame, because if it hadn't been for that, if it hadn't been for my temperamental, dry / oily skin, can never make its mind up what it wants to be from one day to the next, this would have been my new favorite foundation on the block, because it looks absolutely divine after first application. It's just unfortunate that it didn't carry on that way. In fact, after a few hours, this started to go a little patchy around my nose and in between my brows. It looked a little heavy, looked a little cakey. I had been wiping my nose a little bit throughout the day, so it's not all the foundation's fault. I would still say that this is a long-wearing formula. It's just, it's also a little bit drying. If my skin is thoroughly prepped before application, my skin looks superb all day, but you have to be very careful with the amount of hydration and nourishment you apply to the skin before applying this. Otherwise, if you have dry skin, it can just look terrible. So let's rank these from worst to best, and I think this may shock a few people. It definitely shocked me. I was not expecting this before I tried out any of these foundations, that the order would be the way that it is, because I mean, I just don't understand it. This is the Dior Forever Skin Glow, and it is in position 4. I found this quite temperamental to apply, quite challenging to apply. I found it very difficult to apply this light enough for it to look nice and not look too heavy throughout the day, and it didn't wear well. It just accentuated a lot of texture and a lot of pores. The powders in here are absolutely beautiful and do airbrush and smooth for a little while, but that doesn't last a really long time. In position 3, we have the Dior Forever Skin Wear, which is the matte version. I have this on today, and I just feel like in between my brows you can see a lot of texture. Also around my cheek area you can see a lot of texture. It's very shiny on my chin and around my smile lines on the top lip. It's just getting very, very shiny throughout the day, and nothing will stop that. I've tried powdering, I've tried setting spray, I've tried blotting throughout the day. It just keeps on coming through, and regardless of whether I wear skincare or don't wear skincare, I mean, it's completely alien for me not to apply skincare in a morning, but I have tried it without skincare and it's exactly the same. So a bit of a flop. I do prefer it to the Skin Glow, but because this isn't matte, it's not a matte formula, it's a really natural, radiant formula as far as I'm concerned. So it doesn't deliver what it says it's going to deliver. It's in position 3. Just for sheer divineness, the Nars is in position 2. This has the silver award. I love this. I really, really love this. This is a really beautiful, long-wearing formula. Again, I wouldn't say this is overly matte, but it definitely is airbrushing, and my skin just looked perfected. Just, oh, if my skin wasn't dry, this would just be put on a pedestal forevermore. I absolutely love the formula, but it's definitely not going to be one for everyday use for me because it does dry out my skin, and my skin is already dry, so that's just like a big no-no straight away. Gold position, we have the Clarins Double Serum Foundation. Now, just because this is in top spot does not mean that this is going to be my favorite foundation of all time. I am still getting to grips with this foundation. I do find that sometimes it's a little bit too nourishing for first thing in the morning. So again, I would prefer if the customizable little dial only did the double serum and didn't have any effect on the foundation itself. I really like this. I think it looks lovely. I wish it was more airbrushing, but this has got to be my favorite for a more mature skin. It just has to be, because the others just, yeah, they're just a no. They're just no. This one is number 1. Will it remain in my top drawer? I don't know, but I do like it. I really do like it, and I like to apply this more sheerly than a medium to full coverage. I definitely wouldn't recommend you build this up to full coverage because it looks like foundation because of the shine, but a nice light to medium coverage and it looks beautiful. And it surprised me how long it lasted for. It lasted a really, really long time. Really long time. So that's it. Depending on your skin type, depends on which one of these I would recommend. I don't think I would actually recommend the Dior Forever Skin Glow to anybody. I think this was the dud of the whole lot. That is just my personal preference though. If you absolutely love this, please do let everybody know your thoughts and feelings in the comments section. If you have a really dry skin, definitely recommend the Clarins Double Serum Foundation. I think this is absolutely beautiful and the long wearing capabilities are phenomenal. If you have an oily skin, however, either of these products are fantastic, but for the long wearing properties, the Nars just pips the Dior to the post. I love it. I just love how it looks on my skin. I'm just, oh, so beautiful. I really hope you've enjoyed this video and found it helpful in some way. Please don't forget to like, subscribe, hit that notification bell and give this video a share. Hope to see you all in the next video. Bye everyone.